My name is Tyler, and I am a survivor of traumatic brain injury. And what I'd like to accomplish here is for you to meet someone who has traumatic brain injury, who looks like someone who does not have a disability. And I would like for you to hear my struggle and understand what people with traumatic brain injury, how life is impacted, and how it is a crippling disease. Traumatic brain injury, my disability. Before my car accident, I was a high school graduate, hopeful about my future, doing things like any 17-year-old would do. I was water skiing on a farm, agricultural canal, and snow skiing in the winter, and hanging out with friends. I was working a summer job at the YMCA. My life was pretty normal, as normal would go. Had no complaints. However, after the accident at 17, I had disability. I was a disabled person. It can happen to anyone. An accident, leaving here, walking down the street, it happens, and we need to be prepared for it. What happened to me after the accident is my father and two brothers left us in poverty. My mother and I, she stuck with me. We lived in an 8x30 trailer, not very pleasant. We were poor, very poor. We heated ketchup and put it on noodles in order to eat and have food. Again, not very pleasant. No local support existed at that time for anyone with traumatic brain injury. None. But I had it. It extended, the fact that there were not resources, it extended my suffering and extended my recovery period long beyond was appropriate or reasonable for me as a young person with my future ahead. However, disability took that future. No outside advocates, just my mother who was working a full-time job and ended up taking care of me. At some point later in my recovery, we had heard about the Department of Rehabilitation, and I went to the Department of Rehabilitation with my mother, and what we found there was a lady who had a pink little TV and watched soap operas and ate popcorn while I was bleeding profusely. My life was a done deal. And the other rehab counselor we got shifted to was just as bad. He didn't feel that as a woman, they wanted to spend any money on me having rehabilitation because I would just get married and have babies. Discrimination was horrific. My mother disagreed with that. Thank God for her. And she wrote Congress about the unfairness. And immediately, the Department of Rehab called and said, we have this odd letter here with this stamp. And how would you like to go to a special school? My mother, speaking for me at the time, said, that's what we want. So I got put into a special school in Santa Barbara, California, where we were. And it was a children's school. There wasn't even any resources at that time for me as a big person. By that time, I think I was 23. Memory is an issue with TBI. And I went to the school with little children and literally little chairs. Or that was my perception and my memory at this point. And I had to learn my ABCs. I had to learn to read and write. An advocate makes all the differences. I had one, my mother. Advocacy is huge in civil rights. It's huge in disability. It's huge and monumental in anything you can do on this planet is be an advocate.